Hello folks, and welcome to another Iron Factory review. This time we're going to take a look at their Wing of Tyrant Red, which is clearly intended to be the traitorous Decepticon second-in-command, Starscream. This mold is based on one of the IDW Starscream designs. He had a few different appearances in the comics. I believe this is also the inspiration for the Cyberverse Seeker designs, although I could be wrong about that. It's a lot less boxy than the G1 version, sort of more angular, more streamlined, I guess you'd say, modernized. He does, of course, still sport his classic G1 cartoon colors, mostly done in this off-white plastic with some medium blue here and there, and this nice metallic red for the body. He's got red highlights on the edges of the wings, although that is a matte paint as opposed to the metallic of the body. And there are some details picked out in silver here and there, and others in gunmetal, like the face and the intakes there. If we zoom in on the face, you can see he's got his trademark smirk, which is actually unique to Starscream in the Iron Factory Seekers. If I take in Skywarp here, you can see he has this frowning face, which comes as standard on all the other Seekers. Now, this is an older Iron Factory figure, first released in 2017, I think, but it is by no means lacking when it comes to articulation. We have a ball joint at the head with some decent tilt range in all directions. Wings are on ball joints, which allows them to fold all the way back and also to be rotated upside down if for some reason you want to recreate that particular look from the comics. Hinge and a ball joint at the shoulder, bicep rotation and a 90-degree elbow bend. The null rays can rotate, and so can the wrists. 360 degrees of waist rotation. Ball joints at the hips allow the full splits in all directions. Thigh rotation and a double jointed knee. The ankles are on a hinge and a ball joint, so you can get quite a wide variety of stable stances. And then lastly, the toes are on a hinge. All of those are nice and solid for holding poses, and you'll have even more options for posing him with all the accessories that come with this set. Now, as you can see here, he has got a lot of stuff. Unlike the more recent Iron Factory Seekers, he did not actually come with these extra hands. Those came with Tyrant, aka Megatron. To install them, what you have to do is unscrew the forearm here and remove the default hands, which have this mushroom peg, and then screw the forearm back together and you'll be able to pop the extra hands in and out pretty easily, like so. The extra hands have a smaller peg, which is what allows for this. I do still unscrew the screw about one turn, just to make it a little bit easier on his arms. One of the things he does actually come with is this gun mode Megatron with its 3 usual attachments. And that can be equipped if we give him one of these gripping hands to hold it with. That'll just pop into the arm in place of this closed fist. And he can wield Megatron like so. He also comes with his coronation gear, which consists of a cape in 3 pieces, 2 pauldrons, and alternate head with his 4-pronged crown. The cape attached together like so, and it will peg into this hole in his back, just like that. There's a specific way you have to attach the pauldrons, and I'll show you how to do that. You want to remove the null rays, and then find the hole in the back of the pauldron, line that up with the peg on the back of the shoulder, and then clip it around the side of the shoulder before flipping up into the correct position. You don't want to put it over the top of the shoulder, that way there's less clearance and more chance you'll break the piece. You also want to do the process in reverse when removing the pauldrons too, to minimize chance of breakage. And then for the alternate heads, you can just unscrew them at the back there to swap them. What I do is keep them unscrewed a little bit so you can just pop them on and off without having to grab the screwdriver every time. An adjustable stand is included. It comes with 2 options for pegs. The 5mm one here, it plugs into the same hole as the cape on Starscream's back, and then this smaller one plugs into a hole in the back of the cape. You want to use it while he has his coronation gear equipped. There are also 2 stand adapters for the jet mode, one for Starscream and one for his ghostly friend in the corner there. We'll get to those and show how they attach in the transformation. The final accessory included with Starscream is the torso for this Ghost Starscream figure. The arms and legs come with Skywarp and Thundercracker respectively, so if you have all 3, you can assemble the full figure. I'm not a huge fan of translucent figures like this, although I do find them useful as a coat rack for the coronation gear when I'm not using it. Before we get to the transformation, we'll do some size comparisons. Starscream is about 10 centimeters tall, so he scales well with your other Iron Factory figures, but perhaps won't as well if you've got an oversized Legends collection, like the like some Megfans toys there. You can see Shockwave is a good head taller than him. But if I bring in Iron Factory Megatron here, you can see, I think that's a pretty good scale there. A little bit shorter, but not overly so. There he is with his brothers Skywarp and Thundercracker, Windblade from Iron Factory, and Rat Trap from Transform Element, who appeared alongside him in the comics. His old friend Jetfire, or Iron Factory Cygnus. Here we have Hasbro Vertebrake and Black Arachnia, and our Universal Constant Iron Factory Runabout. And as always, if you don't have any of those, or you just want something more general to compare him with, there he is with the LEGO Stormtrooper. Now, we did skip the transformation in the Nova Storm review, but I'll show it in full here since this is the original and not a repaint. So first things first, you want to pop off the null rays. We'll set those to the side for a moment, turn them around, and flip up the panels on these wings before rotating them 180 degrees downward. You can then untab the back, which will allow you to push on the landing gear and pop out the cockpit from the front. That will rotate up, flip out the nose cone, and then you want to push the back panel down and into place so it's flush with everything else. Now, fold the toes inward and push the ankles up and into the leg. We then tab the legs together, and now this bit's a little bit tricky. We want to hook these little hooks into this slot, and there's not much clearance for it, but you start by collapsing the knees, and you want to sort of angle the legs up before finishing collapsing the legs, and they should slot into place like this. If it feels a little bit tight, like it's not gonna clear the edge of the tab, don't force it. Those tabs broke on my translucent Starscream. I haven't had any breakages on the other Seekers so far, but do just be careful with that. Now you want to pull this shoulder joint and fold that down on the double hinge so that the arms are next to the legs on both sides. And there's a little peg on the back of the shoulders, and that tabs into a matching port on the back of the wings on both sides. Then you just want to line up all the tail fins and such so that everything is in place. Take the null rays back in, and those slot into the bottom of the wings. Now, this jet is not the same F-15 Eagle that he appeared as in G1, but it's instead closer to the F-22 Raptor that he appeared as in the 2007 movie and in the comics. Now, from above, the jet has a pretty nice silhouette, but as soon as you look at it from any other angle, you can see this rather bulky undercarriage. Now, the transformation is fairly simple, so the robot parts aren't hidden very well, so I think the jet mode definitely doesn't look as good as the robot mode. Well, I do think there is an argument to be made in favour of this jet mode. Now, I don't have the New Age Seekers, but I believe they have a more streamlined jet mode. And I've also heard that their transformation is a little bit of a pain. So it's more of a question of, do you want a toy that is fun and easy to transform, or do you want one that maybe looks better on display but makes you dread wanting to handle it? The rear landing gear that flip out from the shins are painted, which looks nice, but it does mean that there's a chance of paint wear whenever you have them sitting on a surface. Although, one way you can get around this is by taking the flight stand adapter and plugging that in, just there, you can use the flight stand itself to get around that problem by displaying him in an airborne pose. So for some vehicle mode size comparisons, there he is with Skywarp and Thundercracker, Jetfire, Runabout and Vertebrake, and we can't forget the Lego Stormtrooper. So there we have Iron Factory Wing of Tyrant. Now I did mention that this is an older Iron Factory release, and because he's such a popular character, he's become quite highly sought after by collectors. On eBay, they'll easily go for anywhere between $100 to $150 nowadays, sometimes even more than that, which is at least double what he retailed for. Is he worth these aftermarket prices? On his own? No, I don't think so. He's a cool figure, but there are plenty of more affordable alternatives if you need a Legend scale Starscream. There's an oversized knockoff of this figure that is much cheaper, and plenty of newer repaints and offerings from other third-party companies that do the job just fine. The only case where I think his price tag is warranted is if you're something of an Iron Factory completionist and you want the bragging rights and the satisfaction that comes with having the full set of Seekers. Anyway, that's been Wing of Tyrant. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out the other Legend scale reviews on the channel if that's your thing, and goodbye.